Welcome back, and with me are 4 American Legion chaplains, and each one of them is going to represent one of the chaplains that lost their lives on the Dorchester in February of '43, 150 miles from Greenland during World War II. We have Ron here. You're with Post 149, right?
Yes.
And you'll be representing our oldest chaplain, Pastor Fox.
George L. Fox.
That's right. And then next to Ron is Chaplain Paul Young with Post 68, and you'll be representing
John P. Washington.
who was a Catholic priest,
Catholic
correct?
priest.
Okay, and then next to Paul is Bob Gray, who drove all the way from Port Townsend. Thank you, Bob, on a rainy day in Western Washington. And you're representing
Rabbi Good.
Rabbi Good.
Alexander.
That's right. And then David Bumgardner, who I know very well because he's my chaplain at my Post 30, and you're representing David?
Clark B. Poling, the Dutch Reformed minister.
Okay, now before we get into that terrible, terrible night, I'm going to ask you gentlemen to give us a history. Now, give us a little history on Pastor Fox.
Well, George Fox was born March 15th, 1900. When he was 17, he ran away, joined the Army, and served as a medical orderly.
This was during World War I.
During World War I. He
Okay.
received a Purple Heart, the Silver Star, and the Croix de Guerre for meritorious service. Following the war, he went back to high school. 1931 or so, he became an priest in Illinois and Rye, New Hampshire, and joined Burson University of Theology and became ordained in 1934.
Okay, a Methodist pastor. Okay.
Married in 23 and had a son.
Oh, okay, that's right. I remember what was very interesting about him is he joined the military the same
Day his son joined the Marines.
That's right. All
He
right.
came back in the Army as a chaplain.
Right, right.
He was also a member of the American Legion of Vermont and was the state chaplain and state historian.
Okay, now let's get on to Father Washington.
Well, John Washington was born on July 18th, 1908 in Newark,
New Jersey. I
New
believe.
Jersey, to Frank and Mary Washington. John was the oldest of 7 children, 5 boys and 2 girls. The section in Newark they lived in was considered one of the tougher areas of the city. They were poor Irish immigrants that moved there. John, when he was old enough, took up a paper route to make money to help feed the family,
Oh, I'm sure.
being the oldest boy.
Right.
He went to a parochial school, which was a Catholic school. And John done quite well in school. He also loved music. He learned how to play piano, and he sang in the church choir. Although John was also a little rascal sometimes. He came home with a bloody nose and a black eye every now and then. And at the age of 13, he was the leader of the what they called the 12th Street Boys Gang. John was an altar boy, and he expressed at a young age that he would like to become a priest.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't want his friends to know that, so he only told the nuns in the church and his parents. From the parochial school, and he went to Seton Hall in Orange, New Jersey, for high school and college. And once he graduated from college, he went to a seminary, and then he became a priest in 1935.
Okay. Okay.
But he was still one of the boys, even as a priest. He would go out on the street and play ball with the guys, and he organized youth groups. And
What did you discover about Rabbi Good?
Well, Alexander Good, also known as Alex by most people, followed his father into the ministry. His father was also a rabbi.
Oh, okay.
And he started out in Marion, Indiana, and then later on went to York, Pennsylvania. When he was going to school, he also joined the National Guard, and while there, he applied to be a chaplain with the U.S. Naval Service, and he wasn't accepted because of an eye problem. And at a later date, after war was declared, the Second World War, of course, he went into the Army chaplain service.
Okay. And he was a married man,
Correct.
and he had a daughter, I believe?
Yes. Young daughter who was about 2 or 3, I believe.
Did he have another child? I mean, I believe when he got on the Dorchester, his wife was
That child was born after he had gone.
passed away. Was it another girl, or did he have a boy?
I believe it was a girl.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Now, David, you're representing?
I'm representing Clark B. Poling. Pastor Clark was born August 7th in 1910, and he was born of one of 4 children in his family. And his father was an evangelical minister in Columbus, Ohio at the time. And Poling was later raised in Auburndale, Massachusetts when his mother passed away. Let's see. His father moved to Poughkeepsie, New York. Don't ask me. I have a hard time pronouncing that Indian name.
Poling is actually, for our purposes, a pastor of the Dutch Reformed Church. So that's quite, it would seem to me, kind of a leap from being Baptist.
Well, he finished school in New York.
Okay.
And he went to Rutgers University, which is one of the early land-grant colleges, in case you didn't know. It actually is a huge campus, 40 acres.
Wow, okay.
And that's over in New Jersey, New Brunswick. I attended that myself.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, he also, he graduated in 1933, and he went to Yale Divinity School for further study to become a minister.
Now, was he married and had children?
He was at the time of his death. He had a wife. His wife's name was Betty. His son name was Corky. And about a few months after he had passed away, his daughter Elizabeth was born.
Okay, so then we have 2 chaplains who had children that were born after they had passed away then. Now, one of the chaplains, I don't remember which one, you speak up now, wanted to join and just become a soldier, but his father convinced him, no.
That was Pastor Poling.
Okay.
His father convinced him that a chaplain will see more action and he's typically first to die in a war. And he said that if you want action, the chaplain is the way to go.
Right.
And his father, who was a chaplain in World War I,
Oh, okay.
convinced him to become a chaplain.
All these gentlemen met at the Army Chaplain School at Harvard and became very
Well, they met
tight
in 42
friends.
there.
Actually, John Washington went down and joined the Navy. And at that time, they wouldn't take him because he'd been shot in the eye
As a child.
as a youth by a BB gun. He had a bad right eye. But then he went to Harvard, and that's where he met the other 3 chaplains. And they've become very good friends there.
And while they were going to, before they became on the Dorchester, they were already having interfaith prayer sessions and stuff. They had become 4 good friends as well, besides just classmates. So they had kind of formed a bond betwixt them all as it was.
Okay, so the point is, these 4 chaplains of various denominations and faiths were all good friends before January 23rd, when they boarded the Dorchester with 900 other people. Now, you remember from Captain Beta the history, so let's get to that night. They're torpedoed 1 o'clock at night. It's dark. There's no electricity. We can imagine the chaos, the pandemonium, the absolute sheer terror. You cannot see anything, and these men are stuffed in there like sardines, hot and stuffy. They're not even wearing their pajamas, much less their life vests.
Yeah, they were, of course, they were torpedoed by a German U-boat.
Right.
And the ship they were on sank quite fast.
27 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you say, there was no power no electricity or lights. And everyone that could get up to the deck was up there. And of course, it was probably pandemonium up there.
And it was the four
The-
chaplains
they
who
were-
tried to keep everyone
Absolutely.
calm.
Trying to keep them calm, trying to get the lifeboats off, because they were trying to get in the lifeboats before they got them in the water. And then the chaplains helped pass out life vests until there were no more.
The skipper, the captain of the ship, had told everyone, because the Coast Guard escort had found sonar
Yes.
that there was a submarine in the area, and so he requested everyone to wear your life jacket no matter how stuffy it was. And of course, during the actual torpedo, a lot of people had not. And then they got hit by a second torpedo, and so everybody just came charging up, and with very little clothing and no life jackets. That's why there was a shortage of life jackets, because a lot were left down below, and it happened so quickly that
100 of these people were killed pretty much instantly. So now we're dealing with 800 people all trying to get off this ship. Now, David, very quickly, tell us how their calmness of the chaplains really helped save those 200 lives, because it was absolute pandemonium, and they were most valiant in
Well, their
getting...
final stance was to, after the, let's see, Reverend Poling, or Pastor Poling handed off they handed off their life jackets to 4 other members. They linked arm in arm, and they braced themselves against the railing of the ship, so as the ship was sinking, they were saying the Lord's Prayer together. And that was the last view from one of the engineers as to notice the men going under, was those guys, as the water washed over them, still saying the Lord's Prayer. And you figure 228 people out of 900 survived, you know, and 672 going down. That was rough on everyone.
Now, Bob, Rabbi Good took off his gloves because some foolish guy, you know, when you're in a panic, you don't know how you're going to, was going to go down below and get his gloves.
And Rabbi Good said, "Here, take mine, because you can't go back down there." And he says, "I have a spare pair," which of course,
He realized
I guess he
later.
fibbed a bit, you know.
Yes. Well, folks, we regrettably have come to an end, but I encourage you to Google up this inspirational story of 4 chaplains of different faiths locked arm in arm, go into glory. This is PJ Scott with Veterans Forum. Catch us next time.